We're loving and hating and making scenes. Now we just see everything we believe.
Hello, what's going on, YouTube fam? This is your boy J Money here, and I'm bringing you guys a nice discussion video that kind of extends on what other tubers have been talking about lately. Other tubers have been talking about recently just overall just diversity, or not diversity, but you know, overall just creativity in the game. Now I want to go, you know, a little bit on a different note, and I want to talk about the diversity and, you know, ask a question, is diversity, you know, does that equal health of the game? Now, I ask this because a lot of people say, oh, the format is diverse, so it must be healthy. Well, that's what I'm here to talk about today, so I can dive in and hopefully tackle this argument. So, that being said, those of you who are here for the first time, I say welcome. And at the time of recording this video, I am doing a particular giveaway of a free box of dual power to a lucky winner. And yeah, once I hit 1,500 subscribers before April 5th, which is the official release of said dual power. So if you want to know how to enter in for your chance to get that box, go ahead and stick around to the end of the video. And yeah, you'll get the information you need. Anyway, all this being said, let's go ahead and delve right into this topic, and that is diversity real, you know, is a diverse format really healthy? So first off, what is a diverse format? A diverse format for a lot of people is just a myriad of different decks actually being able to compete at premier events and do well. Regionals, YCSs, whatnot. At least about 7 different decks. If at least 7 different decks are confidently able to pierce the top cut, then I'd say that's a pretty good format. You know, it's pretty diverse. And we've seen that in the past few YCSs. But does that equal a healthy format? That's what I want to tackle today. Now, I will say for a time, that was true. Look at YCS Chicago. Going first and going second was just equally as viable, just on an equal playing field. It's beautiful. You know, people were playing 3 hand traps, 6 maximum, and you know, you didn't have too many degenerate strategies running around. But fast forward, now we have people playing 10 to 12 hand traps in almost every deck. You know, going second just isn't a viable option anymore with the, you know, just with the release of a deck like Salamangreat, and now we have to play these really degenerate cards and really degenerate strategies, at least for rogue decks, just to keep up or compete with these other decks. And I'm not talking about dangers either. That's going to be a topic for another video. Anyway, so yeah, why don't I personally believe that the format is healthy at the moment? Well, as I've tackled already, going second really is not favorable. It's really not. And why is that? Well, just to put it quite frankly, and this ties into the second problem as to why the format, although it is diverse, isn't healthy. But Salamangreat, the release of the Salamangreat structure deck really made it to where going second you just don't want to do anymore, because, you know, and you would think, a lot of people say the strategy is fair. Yes, the strategy itself is fair, but the cards surrounding it, that's a different story. The cards around that strategy is a whole different ball game altogether, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. But the fact remains is nobody wants to, you know, blind second against a potential Salamangreat matchup, because the Salamangreat matchup, the possibility is just so unbelievably high because the deck is so cheap. It's just like the modern structure deck, to where you just pick up 6 structure decks and 3 rares and you have a competent deck right there. And a lot of people would think that's a good thing, but that's also a problem at the same time, because of just the sheer amount of influx of said deck that you're just going to run into on a local level, a regional level, and a YCS level. You know, again, I'm not against people being able to afford very, very competent decks, but you know, if you're facing 4 Salamangreat at locals, 6 Salamangreats at a regional YCS, you got an inherent issue here. And, you know, going second against that deck is already extremely difficult because, again, you got, you know, set Salamangreat Roars. Maybe you open a Roar, so you get in a raid, so you have 2 of those. You got 2 hand traps you got to deal with, a potential Solemn Strike, and a potential Artifact Sanctum. Another reason why going second definitely is not favorable in this game, but, you know, that's going to be my third thing that I discuss. So, just going second against a deck like Salamangreat is not favorable, and a lot of people are just going first is just too important because you don't want to go second against a deck like that because you can drain all your resources, maybe break the board, but you're out of resources, and they can just reset their entire board with just 1 or 2 cards. That's pretty insane. But off from that, the second problem is not only did the release of Salamangreat structure deck bring going second's viability down, but that also just brought the number of hand traps that you need to play up exponentially, almost just doubled in, actually, yeah, doubled in numbers. You know, you got people playing just 3 copies of Effect Veiler, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Infinite Permanence in every deck, and sometimes even DD Crows or Fantastical Dragon Phantasme to boot. Everybody is playing 10 to 12 hand traps in most decks outside of Thunder Dragon and Friends. So, you know, why is this? Why is everybody playing so many hand traps when just, you know, about a month ago, people were only playing 3 to 6? You know, the format seemed a lot healthier and a lot more just, again, going second was viable and all that. So what changed? Well, again, Salamangreat kind of just came in and just kind of just took a smudge to, you know, the good thing we already had going on and all that. But it goes beyond just Salamangreat and its existence. You know, you have just the rise of degenerate strategies that come up because of decks like Salamangreat. You know, you have to play these hand traps just to stop Salamangreat from being able to play, because Salamangreat themselves can fit 10 to 12 hand traps in their deck because, you know, they have such a small condensed package to where they can do that. So now you have to match your hand traps to their hand traps so you don't just automatically lose to them and stop them, because a lot of things seem to be played now in the name of stopping Salamangreat from doing what they're trying to do, because if Salamangreat, you know, actually played, you might lose that game. You know, it's a pretty good chance. Now again, why are hand traps being played? Again, it's not just Salamangreat, but you've got things like Outer Entity Azathoth highly being played now, and things like Artifact Sanctum. This leads me to the second issue with why this format is healthy right now, and it is just the need to play these really degenerate cards to be able to compete with the other decks if you're playing a rogue deck. I said this to my friend a while ago. You know, a lot of the times, like, I feel like I have to play Azathoth, or I feel like I have to, you know, put an Artifact Scythe up against my opponent, you know, just so I don't lose the game. And that's really sad to think about, because a lot of people call Azathoth a degenerate card, when really it's being played in more rogue decks than it is meta decks. So a deck like Salamangreat can't put up Azathoth. You know, a deck like Dangerous Thunder Dragon can't put up Azathoth. A deck like Salamangreat cannot put up Azathoth. Azathoth is only really exclusive to those rogue-based decks. And that's the sad truth of the matter. You know, has it not been for Azathoth, can a deck like Lunalight or a deck like Orcus actually be able to reliably compete against those other decks? Again, I've said it again, I feel like I just have to play these cards just so I don't get steamrolled by Danger Thunder Dragon or Salamangreat as a whole. Now, people want Azathoth banned, but nobody really looks at Artifact Sanctum and Artifact Scythe. And I don't understand why. Because locking out the extra deck and locking out monster effects are just this close in viability. And although locking monster effects is really, really strong, but you can't deny that locking out the extra deck is almost equally just as strong, because we've seen in the past, if you can't access your extra deck, 9 times out of 10 you're probably going to lose that game, and it's been that way since 2017. not being able to go into your extra deck is so underestimated right now. It's not even funny. There's a reason why cards like there's a reason why decks like Domain Monarch receive the big hit, because not accessing the extra deck is really potent, really strong. Because again, most decks that use their extra deck need their extra deck, outside of decks like Geist and Striker, where they use it but they don't really need it. But other decks, if you can access, there's a reason why Domain Monarch got hit as hard as it did, because not being able to access the extra deck is incredibly potent in game deciding more times than not. It's the same reason why Extra Link King was so unbelievably strong, not because of the thickness of the board and how potent it was, you know, and how like hard it was to crack, but it was because just your opponent just not being able to summon from their extra deck. It's the same reason why in a deck like Necros, if you resolve a Mega Zaborg, it's GG no re, because ripping out the best extra deck monsters is essentially the exact same thing as, well, just making it to where your opponent can't special summon from the extra deck. There's no point. So a card like Artifact Scythe is really problematic at this point, because it's so easily accessible, you know, through cards like Artifact Sanctum. And so when people ask for Azathoth to get banned, but Artifact Scythe is okay, I don't know, that kind of raises the question. And you're gonna have people that show up in my comments saying, well, okay, you make boards, you know, like this, to where you just put up like 4 negates, Archer Chrissy, you get special summon monsters, period, and things like that. But the big difference between this and this is that this, especially in a format right now to where there's 10 to 12 hand traps, it's unsafe. It's unsafe because, you know, you're prone to misplays, you're prone to breaking, you're prone to getting interrupted twice, at least, you know, just, there's all different kinds of variables for this, to where this is a lot easier to stop than this. This over here, all you need to do is just activate one card, so it's, you know, it's a lot harder to stop and it's a lot easier to get off. You know, you're essentially, you know, even though your opponent can special summon, they're still not really going to be able to win the game if they can't summon from that extra deck, unless it's a deck like Blue Eyes, to where you kind of need it, but at the same time I got a bunch of big beaters and I can just beat you down without needing the extra deck. But decks like those are few and far between, but that's not the point. Point being is this format, although it is diverse, is it healthy when you got 10 to 12 hand traps being played in every deck? Going second isn't viable anymore because of a deck like Salamangreat and a deck like Dangerous Thunder Dragon. And, you know, again, just the need for rogue decks to play degenerate cards like Outer End of the Azathoth and things like that. Going second just isn't safe because you got cards like Azathoth being a viable threat, Scythe being a viable threat, and just 12 hand traps in general. So many, when you have to play that many hand traps, I don't know. It's up for debate, but for me personally, I don't believe the format is healthy, although it is diverse, because of just the need to do these things. You need to play 12 hand traps, you need to play Azathoth just to stop a deck like Salamangreat. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, and I have to go first. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down in the comments below regarding that. If you like more discussions like this, then go ahead and leave your feedback regarding on what you want me to discuss next. So guys, that's it for the video. If you guys haven't entered for the giveaway for the box dual power, you just got to be subscribed to the channel and comment Infinite Impermanence down below in the comments, and I'll go and enter you in. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is J Money, and I am signing out.